It is the week before July 4th. You need something to listen to when you're driving to the beach, when you're driving to the lake, when you're driving to the pond, when you're driving to the river. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, your favorite podcast co-hosts, Cam and Ward, are back. Episode 12 is live. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but here we are. Big dog, big Cam. What's up, my brother?
Hey, we're starting out patented like I always do. All right, Bulls, we're back. Episode 12. I'm joined by my man, my friend, Ward Sewell. Uh, just what a treacherous path it's been to get to this podcast this week.
Cam,
with
Cam,
the
tell
week
them
starting
tell
out.
them the path we had coming into this.
So I've been slewed at work, man. I've had so much work. That's why we didn't record yesterday. And then we're all set on recording today. Ward calls me and says, "Hey, man, I left my laptop at the office." So he went in and got the old college laptop, and we're getting it in today. We're going to post to YouTube today and Spotify tomorrow, I believe. So just an absolute crazy week so far for both of us. But the week started out great. We got to 100 followers on the YouTube,
Back, baby.
on the Instagram, excuse me. And while we're on that, make sure that you guys go follow us at Fat Katz Pod. Find us on Spotify and YouTube as well at the Fat Katz Podcast. That's KATZ. But we'll be announcing that on social media by the end of the week who the winner is. The winner's getting a $50 gift card, Ward, and they're getting 2 signed baseball cards by me and you.
Hey, you better You better hang on to them things. They might be worth a pretty penny one day.
These are rookie cards too, by the way. So hang on to them for sure.
Y'all are riding with us while we're at the beginning. This podcast is just now blowing up. We hit our first milestone. If you saw our Instagram video that Cam put together, we're down here right now. We're at sea level. We're at 0 sea level. We're about to blow up. We're about to be at the top of Mount Everest. So just stick with us. We're on the rise.
Yeah, but I do want to say real quick, we've got some shirts incoming for me and Ward. So we'll show those off to you guys, and if everything goes well, we'll be quote unquote dropping those pretty soon. But yeah, man, we've got some exciting stuff on the horizon. We've got some hats ideas getting drawn up right now. And we're also going, once we get the shirts, we're going to be doing kind of giveaways and stuff for shout outs on Instagram, just stuff to grow the community and make sure that you guys are getting involved. But that's all we have on that front. Again, we'll be announcing the winner on social media by the end of the week, or maybe we could do it live on the podcast next week. We'll figure it out.
I think, we'll figure it out.
But Ward, we got all that out of the way. Is there anything else from the week that stands out to you?
I just want to show this right here to make sure our listeners know who the real purple and gold is, not just in the state of North Carolina, not just in the Southeast United States, but in the United States of America, the Western Carolina Catamounts. You look behind Cam, there's a Western Carolina cup back there. There's a football helmet, a Western Carolina football helmet. Our alumni support, man. We ride strong. We support the purple and gold. But no, Cam, you hit the nail on the head. And I want to say too, for our listeners, we're at 83 subscribers on YouTube right now. We're this close. Instagram's already hit that milestone. This needs to be a domino effect, ladies and gentlemen. The first milestone has been hit. Now it's time for number 2 to be hit, number 3 to be hit. But yeah, piggybacking off what Cam said, we have T-shirts on the way. I think Cam get a little sneak peek on Instagram, but we ordered some for ourselves. We're going to check them out, do a couple model poses for you, make sure they look good, make sure our muscles look good in them. Then we'll start taking pre-orders for all the fans that want to buy some. But Cam, let's hop into a podcast, my brother.
Yep, man. And I just want to remind you guys one more time before we get into it. Find us on Spotify and YouTube, Instagram and TikTok at Fat Katz Pod. It's KATZ. And to grow this community, to grow the listeners and everything, leave a like, subscribe, comment. We want you guys to be part of the community. We want you guys to feel part of this. We don't want it to be 2 guys talking to you. We want it to be everybody has a voice in this community. So I just want to remind you guys to do that. And real quick, we're going to preview the show. Obviously, starting out with first favorite and forgotten off rip here. Fans Fat Takes is back. We've got some great takes this week. Top stories. We've got a draft incoming, something new for you guys. A little bit of basketball news, a little bit of football news, and then we'll get into pet peeve of the week and full plate empty stomach. Song of the week is also back. So that's just what you guys can look forward to. Starting out, Ward, I want you to give me your first favorite and forgotten for episode 12 here.
So number 12, I think everybody that has ever watched a down of football knows who the GOAT is and knows who wears number 12. So I'll just go ahead and kick off. Tom Brady. I saw 12 and said, yep, that's the first one. You know, the OG. Congratulations on retirement, by the way. But yeah, well, that was my first number 12. My favorite number 12, and this is kind of cheating a little bit, Cam, because this individual does not wear number 12 anymore. He actually decided to wear number 8, and he went to the other team in the NFL that wears green. But Aaron Rodgers, he's the only OG quarterback we have left in the league. I ride with him. He does like to eat mushrooms and go in caves and look at stuff. But hey, man, whatever floats your boat. But yep, no, Green Bay Aaron Rodgers is my favorite number 12. And then the forgotten number 12, just because I don't know if we're ever going to see this guy play basketball again, Cam. As Kwame Brown says, NBA dumb boy, Ja Morant, he's my forgotten number 12, just because I don't think I'm ever going to see him play basketball again. Cam, what about you, bro?
Ward, I have to say, first of all, mine is Brady for first, obviously. If you don't say Brady, you're lying. You just want to be different. Brady is the answer here. I want to say on the Ja Morant, we share Google Doc, obviously. I saw that. I was like, how is this man putting Ja Morant as forgotten? I feel like we've talked about Ja Morant on every episode so far. So I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
Hey, you never know, man. I'll probably be on Instagram Live doing this again.
But as I said, man, my first is Tom Brady, obviously. And again, if you don't say Tom Brady, you're lying. My favorite is kind of off the beaten path, kind of not. That's obviously another Kentucky guy. This one's Pat Riley. For those of you who don't know, Pat Riley wore number 12 for the Lakers, wore number 42 for the Kentucky Wildcats. He played for Adolph Rupp, but the Don is my favorite, man. Not only is he a Kentucky guy, but probably one of the most swaggiest guys in the NBA. Talking about front offices, man. He runs South Beach. He's the guy. So Pat Riley's my favorite. And then forgotten is Michael Jordan. And I know what you guys are saying right now. Cam, Michael Jordan 123, what are you talking about? 1990, Ward, February game in Orlando against the Magic. Michael Jordan walks into the locker room and the infamous number 23 jersey is not there. Somebody swiped his 23 jersey. He had to play a regular season game in Orlando wearing number 12, no nameplate. You would think that they'd have extra Michael Jordan jersey laying around somewhere. No, he wore number 12 for one game in his NBA career with no nameplate on the back. So Michael Jordan is my forgotten number 12. That doesn't get talked about enough, I don't think. That is an absolutely wild story that somebody stole Michael Jordan's jersey and he just had to wear a generic jersey for a game.
Hey, if any of our listeners have watched The Last Dance, it is in detail on there. But no, Cam, that was a really good one. I think that's probably the best forgotten that we've had because I had no idea. When I saw you put Jordan on the Excel doc, I'm like, Cam, what the hell are you talking about? But no, that was pretty good. Give it to you.
Yeah, man. So we'll get into one of our favorite new segments, and me and Ward have talked extensively off air, obviously. This is as good as we can get right now, but there's going to be a time where you guys will be able to call in or join the Zoom or whatever and be able to defend your takes. But we have Fans Fat Takes coming up, and we absolutely love this. We love hearing from you guys. We love getting your point of view. Ward, before we get into it, anything you'd like to add?
I think let's do it, brother.
All right. So this one is coming from Uncle Weezy, my Uncle Stephen Taylor. He said, I'm listening to Ward talk about Newark, New Jersey. And I thought that he'd praise it and give it all kinds of praise. But he goes full Colby Covington and turns heel, and I absolutely cannot stop laughing. That is verbatim from my Uncle Stephen, a text message I got. Ward, we've gotten a lot of feedback from this. You framed it like you were going to praise Newark, New Jersey, and you went absolutely Colby Covington, you filthy animals on us.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you stand by this, or are you?
I 110% stand by it. I stand by it more now than I did last week, and the reason why, Cam, hear me out. And one, Uncle T, Uncle Taylor, love the comment. Appreciate the support as always. See West Virginia or Kentucky, Cam?
West Virginia.
Hey, the Fat Cats roll deep, even over there in West Virginia. But anyway, it even validates my scope more because at work, all my client meetings, I have, obviously half of Raleigh is from New York, New Jersey. I mean, they all just migrate down here like birds. But anyway, I talk to my clients. I'm like, hey, you ever been to Newark? And they're like, oh, that place is a shithole. I said, oh yeah, I know. Tell me all about it. But so no, I stand by my statement 100%.
You know what they say, man. You never want to be on the wrong side of the pizza capital of the world.
Yeah,
That's
but
going to with that. I support Newark, New Jersey. You guys are good in my heart. Moving on, one of my best friends from high school and to this day, one of my best friends, Logan Springer, texted in. He said, Ward cracks me up picking future Hall of Fame wide receiver Julio Jones as his forgotten. Ward, would you like to address that?
Mr. L. Spring, he is my forgotten because I feel like I've picked Julio the past 2 years in fantasy, thinking he's going to stand out and do something, and guess what he does? I drop him after week 2. So, yeah, he may be a future Hall of Famer. He may be one of the best wide receivers to ever come through Atlanta. But what's he done since then? Nothing.
Yep, we're in a what have you done lately for me league, and I agree with you in a well, Ward. Like the guys that fall off the map in the NFL are interesting, but I also see what Logan's saying is like Julio is the first belt.
I did throw a little bit of respect in there, disrespect in there, but
yeah, I agree. I do have a story about Logan here, Ward. I don't know if I've ever told you this. Obviously, you are the biggest Commanders Redskins football team fan I've ever met. You applied for a job, inside sales job with the Commanders when we were in college, correct?
I did, and after college too.
So obviously you applied. Did you ever get the job? Well, before I say this, did you ever get the job?
I made it to the 3rd round interview. This was in like December. I wasn't ever going to take the job. I love my job, but I just wanted to see if I could make it. They offered me I think it was like a 35K salary. I'm like, okay, we got to live here, but yeah, maybe one day the dream will come true.
Yeah, 35 in DC. I'm not sure if it could get the job done. But the reason I ask you that is Ward really was excited about this. Obviously, you grow up a fan of a team and you have the opportunity to work for that team. That's huge. Ward was telling us when we were in the dorm or in the apartment, and I didn't want to tell him at the time, and I don't know if I ever told you, but Logan Springer got that job.
As a Commander salesman?
Yes.
Did he take it or not?
He did. He worked there for a few months. He actually doesn't work there anymore, which makes it almost funnier. But the crossover between my two of my best friends trying to get the same job.
Hey, Logan, what you think about old Landover, Maryland, man? FedEx Field sucks, doesn't it? That's awesome. I didn't know that. Cool story. Yeah, you made it in your resume must look better than mine. But hey, all power to you, bro.
Moving on, and Logan, shout out to Logan for supporting the pod, man. John Castledoe, John Cameltoe, Highlands Hooligans, honorary member, says Geno at 22. This is in reference to our QB tier list last week. Geno at 22. I don't know about that, Bam Bam. He was arguably top 5 in stats last year during the regular season. Remember, you painted the West Virginia roads that lead to his success. On the second point, I did paint those roads that led to Geno Smith's success. I was looking at the stats. I don't see anything that says he's top 5 quarterback last year. I don't know what that is. 22 is low. After I looked at that list, it was kind of low. But top 5, man. I mean, he's closer to 22 than 5, Ward. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I had Geno Smith in my top. I had him in the top 16, top half of the league. But yeah, I don't know about top 10. We'll see what he does this year.
Yeah, and again, he was great last year for him. Not a top 5 quarterback. I don't know what we're talking about. Justin Alford, I want to give a huge shout out. He doesn't have a question or a take. Just the absolute consistency this guy's shown. I mean, he is what the Fat Katz fan, like he's a model. He comments on every post, man, likes everything, always gives his take. He's always given a first favorite and forgotten. He's always telling us what we got right, what we got wrong. So we want to say thanks for the consistency and thanks for the great input that you give to this show, brother.
I want to give a big old shout out to old Jay Al too. Jay Al is a great supporter for us here at Fat Katz, and I want to say, he is a big Clemson fan, and we've talked briefly about it, but I am very excited to go and sit side by side with this guy in Carter Finley Stadium this year. I believe it's October 12th, I want to say, and watch the NC State Wolfpack kick them Clemson Tigers' ass for the second time in 3 years. But yeah, man, thanks for all the support, Justin.
And for those of you that don't know, this guy's a diehard Clemson fan. He can tell you 1 through 85 on the scholarships. Like, this guy breathes Clemson football. So shout out Justin. I'm sure you guys are gonna have a ball there at that game. That's a fun game every year. So I know you both are excited for that. This is really the only kind of hot take question we have this week. And it comes from our good friend Josh Mellon, who he breathes these things, man. He'll send me 6 or 7, and we just can't fit them all in the pod. He wants to know, Ward, should Damian Lillard sit out this year due to the Trailblazers inept to build a team around him?
You want me to comment first, or you comment first?
You got it, brother. You got it.
Mellon, I love you, but this is a bad take, man. And the reason why I say this is a bad take, because Damian Lillard has already come out and said that he does not want to be traded. He wants to play. He wants them to build a team around him. Damian Lillard is not – he is – Portland should be tattooed on this guy at this point. He's obviously not leaving. For the past 5 years, they've been talking about him leaving. He ain't gone anywhere yet. So, I mean, if he was showing any desire to sit out, I would say, yeah, go for it, But he wants to stay in Portland. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to sit out.
I think to Mellon's point, the aggravation would be like this roster has 4 guards that are really good and has nothing. Like, their center is Yusuf Nurkic and Zach Collins. They've got Shaedon Sharpe, who they drafted at 7 last year. Anthony Simons has blossomed into a star, and then they just drafted Scoot Henderson.
Hey,
they got Scoot at 3, and then you got Damian. I mean, they're not going to run 4 guards out there. So,
yeah, they got John
trade or do something if you're going to build around this guy. I understand what Mellon was saying. Dame will never sit out. He's Portland through and through, though.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, our guy Tim Mallow said, and I quote, "Great show."
Oh, Timmy Mallow, love the comment, man. Great show. We try. Thanks for all the support, and go Pack.
I'll tell you what, that's our smartest fan right there.
That is our smartest fan.
Tim Mallow is the smartest guy to listen to this show because he's short and to the point, and he knows what he's talking about.
Hey, you go through all the fan comments. Sometimes you'll see some grammar errors. Sometimes you'll see, a misspelled word here and there. Not by that man, Tim Mallow. Tim Mallow just hits him with a great show. Hey, I appreciate you, Tim.
I love it. And right now, as I said, that was last. We're going to get into the top stories right after we posted the podcast, by the way, Ward. Chris Paul got traded for Jordan Poole.
Right after. The breaking news always happens right after we leave, of course.
So it was basically Jordan Poole for Chris Paul in a first, I believe.
Yep.
And, dude, this made 0 sense to me for either team. Honestly.
Yeah, me too.
I thought Jordan Poole had a lot. I know he wasn't very good in the playoffs, but I thought he had a lot more trade value than Chris Paul in a first.
Chris Paul, yeah, especially Chris Paul's contract.
I get it for Washington, like have a fun player and tank and not be good for a few years, but I don't know. That's not a guy you want to build a franchise around, is it?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't know. I got in an argument with my coworkers over this today. They were trying to tell me that Chris Paul was not going to start. He said they were trying to tell me that he was going to be a 2 on Golden State. I believe Chris Paul's salary, Cam, you have to fact check me on this. It's just north of $20 million is what they picked up. You're not paying a guy over $20 million to not start. I don't know. I mean, the NBA is a small ball game now, I will admit. So I don't know if Steph is trying to be a true number 2 or just a straight shooting guard. And obviously Clay's big. You can bump Clay down to the 3. With Draymond being gone, I guess you're going to bump Andrew Wiggins down to the 4. I have no idea what they're going to do. But, yeah, this one really surprised me. Obviously, Chris Paul wants to win. And, I mean, Golden State's one of the best places. You look at their success over the past 10 years. Statistically, one of the best places you're going to do it. But, no, it really surprised me, man. It caught me. I wasn't expecting this one. I wouldn't have bet on it.
Yeah, and I mentioned a bunch of places I thought Chris Paul could go, and the Warriors never even crossed my mind. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm going to be interested to see how Steve Kerr uses him because we see so much motion in that offense. That offense isn't like a ball dominant. Like there's not really a lot of ISO. And that's what Chris Paul thrives on, like high pick and rolls, getting the open guys the ball.
Range.
But like there's spots. Like I feel like he probably takes 40% of the possessions he's in when he was with Phoenix, he probably had the ball.
Yeah.
And was just pounding the rock. Like that's not that offense. I'm interested to see, is he going to run off screens like Steph and Clay? Like how does that look? If he is on the second unit, are they changing the style of ball they play? Is Steph cool moving to the 2 full time? Like I don't know. There's a lot of it brought up more questions to me making this trade than if they would have just kept Jordan Poole.
I think they're obviously not trying to pay Draymond at this point. I think they've kind of cut ties and moved away from Draymond.
I think Draymond is out for sure. I would say LA Lakers is probably where he'll end up, knowing his relationship with LeBron.
God, yeah, I didn't even think of that. I don't know where he's going to go, dude. Wherever he goes, I think he's going downhill.
Real quick on the Wizards side, you trade Bradley Beal, and it feels like you just got a Dollar Tree version of Bradley Beal right back.
Oh, yeah. Warriors are always going to suck.
The Wizards or the Warriors?
I'm sorry, not the
I got you. I just wanted to keep you honest.
Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, the Wizards, they have the Washington curse. They're always going to suck.
Yeah, I didn't want you to get clipped and get made fun of. So
I
got you on that one. Next is, as everybody knows, and as I said, the smartest bet in sports betting history, $50,000 to win $300 on Victor Wembanyama going first overall. So you get Vic at 1, Brandon Miller at 2 to Charlotte, which Charlotte was in an uproar when that draft pick
Charlotte is an idiot for not taking Scoot. For not taking Scoot Henderson and taking Brandon Miller over him. I think they're stupid.
And then, obviously, Scoot Henderson goes 3 to Portland Trailblazers. Speaking of Scoot, Ward, I'm not going to try to say his full name. It's Shams on Twitter. Everybody knows he's the NBA guy. He works for DraftKings, all right, Ward? And this has kind of been a big deal the past few days. So Shams works for DraftKings. He puts out a tweet about 4 hours before the draft that says the Charlotte Hornets have decided that Scoot Henderson is going to be their pick at 2.
Really?
DraftKings has the odds for Scoot Henderson to be number 2, and it's like minus 150 or something like that. No other sports book has the odds on Scoot Henderson to be picked. And then Scoot goes 3. So there's a lot of, not saying, but saying, Shams just finessed all these people out of this money. Which, if you're an employee for DraftKings, that would be my first thought. I know a bunch of people that lost a lot of money because Shams tweeted that, and then come to find out, this guy works for the only sports book that had odds on that. That's a little bit fishy.
Raise a couple eyebrows.
But that's the biggest controversy out of this draft I've seen, and I wanted to get your take on this, Ward. Is this the least hyped draft you can remember in our life?
I didn't even watch it. I was getting updates on my phone. I honestly, the last couple ones. Who was drafted one last? No, that was Brandon, or the dude from Georgia was 2 years ago. Anthony Edwards was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Who was first last year?
Paolo,
that's right. Yeah, dude, I didn't even watch it, to be honest with you. Call me a bad co-host, but.
Oh, no, I totally understand. I watched it half-heartedly. I was on my phone for most of it, but I can't remember a draft that had less buzz than that.
I know. I don't know. Last year's one didn't have much buzz either.
Yeah, and you had the same thing happen last year in which, everybody was saying, Jabari Smith's going 1.
Yeah.
And then he falls to 3. I don't know. I don't know if it's because the classes aren't as good or they're not as deep or what, but, this year,
I think a lot of it, too, is none of us ever watched any of these guys play, man. These guys didn't come out of college. They came out of the G League or they came from overseas. And, the biggest draft that I can think of from the past couple of years is obviously the one where Zion went first. Zion, John Morant, RJ Barrett. I think that was the top 3. But we watched those guys play. So.
Yeah, and Again, like it came to Thursday, and I didn't even know that it was happening. I don't even know. Did we even talk about it on the last podcast?
We did
Okay, I
not.
didn't think so. But yeah, I mean, just
I just got a notification saying we only have 10 minutes on here for some reason. Did you see that?
no, I did not.
Yeah, it says for your free trial ends in 10 minutes.
Well, we'll try to get the show moving quicker, I guess. Sorry to
It's gonna be a
everybody.
short show. Sorry,
Again, the
y'all.
technical issues are piling up for us here, but real quick, I want to say I have a point on the draft. Drew Timme, Oscar Tshiebwe, and Udoma Sanago all go undrafted. It feels like the end of the true big man war. These guys are three of the most dominant players in college basketball last year, with Timme and Tshiebwe being two of the most dominant bigs in college basketball history. And these guys can't even get drafted, man. It's sad to see these ultra talented guys, and even with Luka Garza a few years ago, Baycott's going back to school because he knew he wasn't going to get drafted. It's so weird to me that this style of big man just can't find a spot in the league anymore.
Not a good look for your Tucky boys, Cam.
No, it was a rough night for the Kentucky boys. We had Casey Wallace go 10 to the Thunder, and then I believe Chris Livingston was the last pick in the draft, and those are the only two guys we had drafted off of last year's roster. But real quick, John Collins to the Jazz, huge nothing burger to me. I'll forget John Collins will be on the forgotten list at some point if he stays in Utah.
Yeah.
And the package they got for him was embarrassing. It was 2 role players and 2 second-round picks.
Yep.
But nothing really on that. We do want to give a RIP, which we've had way too many of these the past few episodes, but rest in peace to Ryan Mallett, Arkansas legend. Not going to get too much into it, but we want to say, prayers to that family. Ryan Mallett was so fun to watch when we were growing up when he played at Arkansas. So, huge condolences to that family and everybody that affects. Getting a little bit more up tempo here to kind of raise the mood for everybody. We have the inaugural first Fat Katz draft here, Ward. So today it's 5 slots. Every draft's going to be 5 slots. Today we're going to be drafting our favorite sports duos, Ward. So with 1-1, I'm going to give you the honors. Who is your favorite, best, whatever you want it to be, sports duo of all time?
Absolutely. I did some research on this, and I wanted to craft my sports duos to people that I grew up watching play, or I was old enough to go back and watch play, if that makes sense. So I think this is a no-brainer. My number 1, I'm gonna go Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, even though they hate each other now, but I think they are the best sports duo of all time. So I'm gonna take them with 1.
Yep, and I can't blame you there. My 1-1 is a little bit different. I went with storylines. I went with, again, guys that you don't really think about when you think of sports duos, but once you see them, you're like, man, these guys were great. My first one is Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr., the first father-son duo and only father-son duo to hit a home run in the same game. And 2, I mean, as good as Senior was, Junior was even better. You've got 2 Hall of Famers there, and father-son, I mean, you can't get much better than that, in my opinion.
Yep, you're right. I agree with you. And I'll go ahead and go with my number 2. This is another basketball duo. I'm going a lot of basketball today, but I'm going to go LeBron and D Wade, Miami LeBron and D Wade. I've always been a big LeBron guy, so that's my number 2.
Yep, and in my number 2, I'm going to go back to basketball with you. I'm going to go Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon and Clyde the Glide Drexler. These guys won a championship at Houston together. They also at the University of Houston with Fat Wembanyama, and lost to your NC State Wolfpack, by the way. And then they also won a championship together in Houston for the Rockets. 2 guys that are 2 easily first ballot Hall of Famers, 2 of the greatest players to ever play the game. And the storyline of college and NBA is something that's really enticing to me.
Yep. Love it, Cam. My number 3, I'm actually going football here. I'm going the GOAT, Tom Brady, and I guess you could say one of the greatest tight ends of all time as well. So 1 for sure GOAT, another possible GOAT. I'm going with Brady and Gronk, and 2-team Brady and Gronk, both New England and Tampa Bay. So that's my 3.
I love it. At my 3, I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path here, but I'm going to go the Williams sisters, Serena and Venus. two of the most dominant tennis players of all time, regardless of gender. So that's going to be my 3.
Love it, Cam. Love it. My 4, I'm switching up the script a little bit. So my 4, I am a huge, well, I was a huge WWE fan as a kid. And there's nothing I love more than watching the D-Generation X back in the day, Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels with the whatever the kick he did, the sweet chin music, and then Triple C was or Triple C, Triple X did I don't even know what
the pedigree. It was
the
a pedigree.
That's it. The pedigree. There was nothing like watching those guys back in the day. So that's my 4.
Dude, funny story, real quick. My cousin Zach and me used to watch WWE religiously, and he was babysitting me and my sister, and he hit Caroline with the nastiest pedigree I've ever seen in my life. She had a knot on her forehead as big as my ball cap wore. So we got in trouble for that. To say, I mean, obviously, but you want to talk about a great pedigree, Zach? If you're listening, kudos to you, brother.
Shout out,
But
Zach.
I'm gonna move to football real quick, and this is also again off the beaten path. But Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis in Indianapolis was probably the scariest set of guys coming off the edge I could ever imagine. I would hate to be a quarterback looking at those two guys.
No doubt. And I know, Cam, for time's sake, I'd say if you're cool with this, we'll go ahead and we'll get into the fan favorite. We'll go ahead and cover pet peeve of the week real quick. Then we'll go through full plate, empty stomach. Does that work for you?
Yeah, we'll knock it out real quick. My pet peeve of the week this week is guys who hit great shots in golf and then get mad about it. Like, dude, you're not a pro.
That's a great one, dude. I love that.
You just hit it to 10 feet from 200 out with your 3-wood and you're pissed off. Like, get out of here, bro.
I love that, Cam. I play with guys like that, and I hit a ground ball 50 yards, and they hit a 7-iron 200 yards, and they're 10 feet from the green, but they're not on the green. But yeah, I'll go ahead and piggyback off that. My pet peeve of the week is people, and I'm not going to say I've never done this, but people that eat breakfast for dinner sober. So these guys that come home and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's make omelets tonight, or let's make eggs and bacon tonight." I'm like, yeah, I'm more of a steak and chicken wings kind of guy, sober. But I do get after a night of drinking, there's nothing that hits like Waffle House at 2 a.m. So I don't know if that counts for dinner or not, but yeah, that's my empty stomach for the week, or that's my pet peeve of the week.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it sober, because when you've tied a few on and you see that Waffle House sign glowing, man, that's the best dinner.
That Waffle House, there's nothing that I want to do a Fat Katz listener take on this. There is not a food that hits different after a night of drinking than Waffle House. Quote me on that. Do whatever you got to do. Prove me wrong.
That's not even close to a hot take, Ward. That's just factual.
Thank you.
But moving on real quick, we're going to get these out of the way, and then if we have time, we'll cover everything else. Full plate, empty stomach, Ward. Just go ahead and name both of yours real quick.
So my full plate is actually going to be the LSU baseball fans. I'm not sure if you saw the highlights over the weekend. They ordered almost 40,000 Jello shots compared to number 2. Number 2 was Florida with like 800. So shout out to the LSU fans. I'm also going to shout out David. You're going to help me on this last name, Cam. The left tackle.
Yeah, David Bakhtiari.
Yeah, the tackle for the Packers. He chugged last night, busting with the boys, did a beer Olympics. He chugged 4 beers in 9 seconds last night out of a cup. So he's my full plate. My empty stomach is actually going to be Victor Wembanyama, however the hell you say his last name. He did a commercial, and I think he went 0 for 10 shooting. So yeah, we didn't have time to get into it, but that guy's going to be a bust. We'll get into that next episode.
Yeah. For my full plate, I've got the guy, I'm sure you guys have seen this, the guy that passed away this weekend after drinking 21 cocktails on his oh gosh, what's the boat? A cruise.
I didn't hear about that. Oh my God.
He drank 21 cocktails, everyone on the menu, and passed away. I think he's like 70 years old, but what a way to go. I mean, absolute legend. If he would have died any other way, we wouldn't have known about it. So I want to shout out to that guy for going out the right way.
Hey, shout out to you, man.
My other full plate is the Thompson twins. They went back-to-back at 4 and 5 overall in the NBA draft. Shout out to those guys. And my empty stomach is Leonard Fournette, playoff Lenny Ward. I don't know if you saw this, but he got in a wreck this weekend. I'm glad he's okay. Shout out to him. But the car he was driving was absolutely